Welcome back, everybody, to Season 1, Episode 13 of Space Engineers. My name is Lainey from Nerdlette Gaming, and yesterday we worked on the start of this pit, as well as other things. I mean, we did a lot of stuff yesterday. We painted the place, we worked on this little welder. It's all been great. I've actually not taken the welder out since then. I've basically just been doing decoration, guys. I've been RPing because this is still going on. And I just wanted to give you guys an update on the pit. Look at this. Just look at this. It's insane. It's so far down. We have gone all the pistons that were here vertically. These have all been released. So that's where that is right now. And what I'm doing right now is I'm lowering these. So I lowered the first one already, so that gives us a little bit more room. And I'm lowering this one next, and then this one, and this one, and this one. We're still basically 4 pistons or so away from maximum depth. And then after we achieve maximum depth, we can still extend this out here and do it again. At least 2 more times, and then we can rotate it and do it again and again and again. We're basically rich, okay? We are basically rich. And so as I was wealthy, I decided to do some stupid things with my time, of course, because why not? We temporarily painted the base like this. I'm still waiting to see if people have any input on what the base should look like, but you know, for now, this is it. I was going to go ahead and put more lights on, but I've done a little bit of lightage. You might also notice that these are windows now instead of the blocks that were there before, as well as this door now opens. Oh, beautiful. And it opens into a beautiful med bay. I have made this, it's fully RP. There's no use for it whatsoever. It's just looks more medical. So I went ahead and did it. I put more lights here, and I've made a cryo chamber. These things are very cool. They don't heal you, mind you, but they do regen your stamina really fast, and obviously your hydrogen. So that little baby goes over there. I was originally just going to put it over here, but it needs to be connected to an O2 generator, and the back side of this is the outer wall here. So I couldn't do it there, but that's fine. And how we made this little door work is we added a sensor. Now, I just recently learned about sensors while I was doing this, but I'll give you guys a quick preview of what I have learned so far. First of all, I named it just in case we do make other sensors. I don't want any issues. I don't really understand what this means, but my guess is this is how far it detects things. So if we found it really annoying and the door is just opening a lot, we could just probably change these and it will be fine. I didn't touch anything else. I don't want it to detect ships. Obviously, this is just a normal door, so this is fine. But this, I think, is going to be super useful. We could do this for a lot of things, not only doors. I mean, obviously, hangar doors and other things, so I don't have to get out of my vehicle. That would be cool. But we could do this for pistons to recharge things. It's just like the uses are just unlimited. And that's what I love about this game. I feel like all the game systems are really intertwined to really make an overall experience, you know? Anyhow, so we did here, and it's just basically pretty self-explanatory. We went to set up actions. We found the door here and we put it as open. I don't know why I have 2 of them, but you don't need to. I just used the option to open and close that one, I think. And that was that. So that was what I did. I might have done them separately, and that's why there's 2, but it didn't need to be separate. I tested it, and you can just do the open and closed. It will open, and it will close. See? Okay, guys. We have stopped pistons for a second. We still have a couple of pistons to go, but I realized that our whole conveyor system is a complete and utter mess. Now, if you see here, this is the connector from the old ship dock. So we have a little ship dock up there, and that's my respawn pod, the one we started out with. So that's pretty good. But if we come down here, pardon me, it is a little bit dark, but we have been working on some stuff, as you can see. We have added new boxes and new sorter systems. It's a bit of a mess still. Don't get me wrong. It's a bit of a mess, but I think at the end, it will be fine. I hope. Now, okay, we have a conveyor here. This is the conveyor from the shipping dock, okay, from the respawn pod over there. And this one here is the one that brings stuff in from the rover charger or our piston contraption over there. So this is it. So we're going to forget completely the boxes that are over here. I even had added a couple more boxes that are totally going to have to die now. Yes, I have wasted a lot of resources, but it's fine because when we grind them down, it's not going to be that bad. But this whole system is completely broken. Now, don't get me wrong, it is working. I mean, stuff is going from the refineries to the boxes, but it's not sorting it perfectly. You know, it's not sorting it in a way that is organized and that is going to keep things in track. So I decided to start over. This whole thing needs to go. This whole row here. I could claw it out now. I've also gutted a little bit here from the entryway. I have disconnected my cryo, which is up here. If you look, we look a little bit. Here's my little cryo chamber. Okay, so I've disconnected that temporarily because I don't want it to connect to the main conveyor, which is this one. So I want it to go perhaps down here and connect to the ice because this is our ice container. Okay, before we start demoing everything, there is a forge connection here, and I think that will link to everything else. So I'm going to just run the pipes this way. I'm considering running it from the bottom, but then I realized that I might need more boxes in the future. So I think it's a good idea to have the bottom be open, and you know, we can always add more over there, which leads me to believe that it might be better to turn this one and put it over here on the side. But for now, you look, we have enough boxes, so I don't think that's a necessity at the moment. We can just leave it like that. But for the future, to keep things organized, I think that would be the best way about it. We also have a connection that we're going to need for the big rover, which I'm going to need to make somewhere over there. And I've decided I can just connect it over here. I can just turn that one, that little curvy one, into the straight. Okay, so I've made a hole through the roof here. Just to see what the situation was with this box up here, because this box up here needs to be able to transfer components to that little vessel so we can weld things up, right? So, and I also wanted this to be accessible to basically everything, but I realized that the box is already connected to the assembler over here through the bottom, and the assembler, I believe, has a top connection. So that should be set. It should be able to get components from the assembler that is going to be able to pull components from a component box down there. But I think what will mess up this system is I would like this box to be able to access everything on the ship, obviously, but realistically it doesn't need to be able to access anything other than components. I don't really need it to access anything else. So I believe that having this conveyor here is going to complicate things rather than help it out, because of course it connects the assembler to the refineries, so that's useful, right? The refineries are able to pull things from the refineries into the assembler, but I think it's okay if the refineries pull things into the ingots box and then it goes into the assembler. And the reason why I think this is probably a little bit more beneficial than the current setup is because if I connect this conveyor junction to it, then that means that ore or ingots could go into that box, and realistically, ingots going into that box is the worst possible scenario. I don't want it to happen. Okay guys, I have finally finished the conveyor system and it's ready for testing. I have tested the ice. The ice goes straight from any box in here. It seemed to go down that connector over here, and it seems to be going perfectly into the O2 generator that feeds these machines. So the ice is covered. That has already been tested. And I just wanted to show you guys that there are two connections that bring in resource. So it's going to be this one over here that's going to bring in resource from the big rover and whatever pipe thing is going on over there. And it's going to be this one that is the connector that's connected to our little mining ship. So those two connections are actually joined now. So if you come over here, I will show you. I have connected them together. So this is the one that comes from the little ship, and it goes back here, this pipe into this connector, and this conveyor is the one that's up there that receives from the big pipe. So basically they're both coming in at the same spot. And over here I have sorted out, this is a sorter, and it sorts in the stone and the ore. So it's any stone and any ore is going to go into these boxes. The reason why I give it 3 boxes is just in case we have some overflow, there won't be any issues. But these boxes are connected through a normal pipe This is just a normal conveyor without a sorter, and it's going to be funneled into the refineries. Now, the reason why it doesn't have a sorter is because the refineries can pull ore and stone from boxes without a problem. They don't need a sorter. The only reason you need a sorter is to put things from a box to another box, or from a refinery or an assembler into a box. So not the other way around. So that's really, really nice. And you will notice over here that there is another conveyor sorter, and that is because I wanted any ice that will come into this, because I have tested, and apparently ore, quote unquote ore, the ore command that they have on these things here. So let me show you. It has already a predetermined ore system here. So if you look down, you can whitelist just ore, and it will whitelist basically everything. And I think that counts as ore and stone, but I will go ahead and add stone in case it's not a thing, even though I am 100% sure that it is a thing. So that's fine. Ore and stone, done. And so what it will do is now this one will take from those boxes and sort out the ice this way. And this is important because this one is the ice sorter, and it only has the ice as whitelisted. I will want to point out that they're all set to drain all, so that they always will be sorted into that. You can turn that off and then just manually do things. So if you wanted to sort at a specific time, or you just want to sort a specific batch, you can turn that on and it will sort that, but it will leave the rest going on however you had it before. So that's pretty good. I wanted this to feed right into the O2 generator, which is over here. So it feeds it well. It's working perfectly. That has been tested. The ice is covered. Now, going back to over here, once the stone feeds into the refineries, I needed to make a way for the refineries to also get drained out of their ingots. Now, I think automatically when they get full, they will drain into the nearest box. I'm pretty sure, because that's what it seemed to be doing previously. Or they will go into the assembler, or whatever you have, whatever system you have. It works okay. But what I wanted to do is that it would automatically drain the refineries and put them into an ingots box. So I had to connect it from the refineries, which I chose a different refinery simply because there's a different connector. There's no other reason than having a different connector is going to be easier. So I went ahead and picked a different connector for the refinery, and I put some conveyors, and I put a sorter. Now this sorter is going to be my ingot sorter, and ingots and gravel technically. So I think gravel is considered ingots, but I'm not sure. I put it in as gravel either way because I just wanted the gravel to get out of the forges. It collects so much. So ingots and gravel will travel through this automatically. It will drain from the forges and go into these 3 boxes. Now, these 3 boxes are connected together, so I don't need another system. When that box fills, these 2 boxes will fill. So it's not a big deal. Now, here's where it gets a little bit more complicated, because that was a pretty basic system. It basically went from unrefined goods to refined goods, and here we are, right? They're all just going to be deposited here into a box. So that is the easy part of the system. Where it gets a little bit complicated is whenever we decide how to take things into the assembler and out of the assembler. Now, this part is still pretty simple because you really only need a regular conveyor to attach a box to an assembler. The assembler will automatically take stuff from the box, as you can see. There's conveyor junctions here, but these are basically just for different reasons. That one doesn't even need to be there. That can just be a curved tube. So the reason why they're here is irrelevant. It's just a regular conveyor system because assemblers can pull items, so they can pull the ingots into their inventory and craft. So they don't need a sorter. So that's the reason why it's just connected with a normal pipe. But the reason why it gets a little bit complicated here, forget these pipes here. These are the ones that connect the forges to each other. So the forges from that side on the left are connected to the forges on the right here by these pipes. So don't look at these right here. These are nothing. This is the one that you need to pay attention to. So this is the one that's connected to the assembler, and it goes down in a normal pipe, as I had previously stated. But this box over here is where it gets a little bit complicated because I wanted a specific thing to happen with that box up top. Now, that box up top was getting drained previously by my old system where I connected the assembler. So before, the assembler was just connected like it is right now, down a pipe and down into this. And then what I did is I had connected from there, I connected over here, and I had put a sorter that would lead the components to these boxes, which was fine. It was working. The components are in those boxes. It was working perfectly. But I didn't want all the components to be drained into those boxes. Now, I suppose I could have turned on and off on the conveyor sorter every time I didn't want it to drain, but it gets a little bit dicey, gets a little bit complicated. And what I wanted to do is I wanted to have that box on top of the assembler, that huge box that we have, the large cargo outside, to not only be able to handle overflow from the assembler, but also to be able to access everything down here. So the assembler obviously is going to have to deposit the components somewhere, right? So what I did is, instead of making it come down into those component boxes up there, I made it go up. So if you see here, there's a conveyor sorter that goes up into the main box. And the reason why I did that is because it sorts to the closest box first, it seems to, at least. So if I sorted it to the other boxes, then what happens is it drains the box up top. And unless you just move it manually, which you can, but I wanted it to immediately deposit into that big box first, and then any overflow will come down to the bottom boxes. So if you see, there's a conveyor sorter that goes up into just the splitter, and then it will go back down through here and follow, because it gets a little bit snaky, but it will go down through the wall and right into our component boxes. So the components will be able to freely travel from the top to these boxes, and it's going to be fantastic. It looks like, and correct me if I'm wrong, that it won't automatically remove things from the assembler when it's full. It definitely won't remove any ore from the assembler, which I tried to do. So I guess that's not possible, which I thought for sure it would be. But I mean, we can still move it ourselves. It's not a big deal. It's just, annoying. It's a little bit annoying that it won't do it by itself, but I mean, it's fine. Look. What can we do? This is just what happens, apparently. And this system didn't work, and I connected it properly. I am pretty sure. So basically what's happening right now is it's coming from the assembler, which is over here, and going down this pipe. And over here, it should be, in fact, pulling from the assembler into this box all the ingots, but it's not. And I do have back access, as you can see, but obviously this is not working. I have set it up properly, I'm pretty sure. I'm trying to think if I can blacklist it somehow, but it's not. No, I really just wanted it to pull the ingots from the assembler and into this, but it doesn't seem to want to pull the ingots. It seems to only pull the inventory, the second inventory. It doesn't want to pull the first inventory, if you know what I mean. So if we look at the assembler inventory, so let's go over here. Assembler to ingot sorter is doing something. But what is it doing? Okay. That's strange. It's actually sorting something, but I don't know what it's sorting, because if you look over here, this is not moving. It's at 18.53, and it's not moving, even though it's not crafting anything. So I think this is the only inventory that it will move. I don't think it will move this. This is just the items that are accepted by the assembler, and this is all it will hold. This it will move out, but this it will not. So I tried. Okay, I tried. All right, so that little experiment didn't work. Obviously, it's fine. It's working currently as it is. I will just remove this. Okay, I will turn that back into a tube. So experiment failed, but that's fine. This is working exactly how I want it to work, at the very least from what I can tell. Now, if you look over here, there's just components. They're not organized, mind you, but they're at least components. And same for here. This one's empty. And over here, ingots. Perfect. Ingots and gravel. I hate gravel. And more ingots and gravel. Perfect. So everything's working exactly as I intended. I mean, the only thing that I was hoping is that I could actually drain the assembler of the ingots, because sometimes the ingots do get stuck. It does get full, but that's when you cancel things and so on. So it might not be a problem. This will drain. So let's make an example here. Let's put some stuff in production. I always need stuff, so we might as well get going. We've wasted a lot of small tubes making the conveyor, so let's go ahead and make some small tubes. I'm sure we need some. Well, let me 600 or something. Okay. And obviously interior plates are always a thing. Construction comps are always a thing. And power cell. I don't even know if I need that, to be honest. Small tubes. Just make more small tubes. Always make more small tubes. Some computers. All right. Basically, we're just putting a bunch of stuff to make. And if we take a look over here, it is draining them. It is taking them out. And if we go to the connector inventories, we should see that the component box should be filling up with more tubes. I don't know which one it's going to. My guess is it's going to go to the top one. Yep. I'm going to need to name it something else because right now it's called access, but it doesn't need to go there. Yeah, so it's going into the access box, which is fantastic. It's exactly what I wanted to do. And from the access box, I'm going to remove, obviously, once this starts getting full, whatever, I will remove some of the items and I will move them down to the components box because we're able to. If you look, we are able to access through here and we're able to access through that box. So it's perfect. Exactly what I was looking for. I'm going to go and fill up the truck with just stone. So I'm going to go, I don't know, to the hill over there where I have the gold mine and just fill it up. Now, the reason why I want to do this, and I think this might be a little bit crazy, but hear me out. I want to try to overload the refineries just to test our system fully. So our refineries need to be fully capped for it to get overflown. And I'm going to lower that thing down as well, maybe a little bit quicker so that it gets overflown. I want to see if those boxes start stacking them. I want to see if these are just going to be on full production the whole time. And then the boxes are going to start stacking up. Either way, I want these to be in full production. And they're not going to be in full production by just that little piston coming down one at a time very slowly. It's not happening. So I'm going to go grab more resource and I'll see you guys in a little bit for the final test. We have returned with the cargo, but I'm not locking it in yet. I have lined it up and I'm going to lower this one. I think this might be our last piston. Yeah, I think that's it. And then we'll reach the bottom of the pit. So to do this, I just go over here. I make sure that this is a 0.01. Okay. And I have to reverse it because it's coming down instead of going out. I'm going to go check it really fast. Please work. Please work. And if we go over here, we can see it's starting to fill up. Now it fills up a little bit slow. I think this has a maximum capacity per second or per whatever. So it won't fill up right away, but it will fill up overall. And the reason why that's super important is because once I bring in the other vehicle with the big cargo boxes that are going to be full, it's going to be a lot slower to unload. And so I want to make sure that it works properly and that there's plenty of room for extra ore. So I think this is going to be great. This is it, guys. This is the end of the pit. As you can see, all the top pistons have been lowered and all the bottom pistons have been stretched out. So if we go all the way down, you'll see it is massive. It is insane. It's still carving out a little bit, so maybe it's still coming down by a few inches, but barely anything. I'll move up because it's really loud down there. But yeah, every piston has been released. And it even takes me a while to get up to the top. This is insane. I can barely see the drills if we come out here. It's so crazy. Now that we're sure that all our conveyor systems are working ideally, I think what I would like to do is gather some resources here. So I think this one might have some plates. I don't know. Yeah, perfect. So what I want to do right now is I want to add blocks to actually create a floor and a wall over here. I'm tired of having to fly in here. I mean, it's still nice to have that as an option, but I would like to be able to also walk in here if I wanted to. Here's a medical room. Nothing has changed here, but if we go down, you can see I've added so much stuff. I've added catwalks over here, so it looks more an industrial feel sort of thing. I've added red rotating lights, so you can kind of see like it's a little bit of a panic room. I've thought about maybe we can always expand this way and that way and that way. So I've left the area open so we can place a door there and then just add to the building as we see fit. But if we turn off my light, you'll see that it's quite a bit darker here than than it is with your light on. And that's so the red lights show, because without with too much light, the red lights were not showing. So what I had to do is I had to lower the intensity in some of these. So you can see there's a little bit of light in front of the boxes just to give it a little bit of a glow. And I've also used the light trick to attach these stairs to each other so that there's nothing underneath it and I can walk freely back and forth. So that's my favorite part about it. You can go ahead and leave these unfinished. So if you don't finish them off, they don't cost you anything, obviously, and you don't get the light from it. So maybe you don't want the light, maybe you don't want the energy cost, whatever it is, you can go ahead and avoid it by not finishing it off, and the stairs will still attach to each other. Now, I've tried with the double lights, and they don't really work as well as the single light to kind of cheese the mechanic of building. For some reason, it just does not like the double light, and I'll show you what I mean over here. So if you look at this catwalk here that goes over, I was able to connect this last catwalk to it because this one, there's a wall here, and it doesn't need this one in the middle to make it work. So that one's fine, and the reason why I did this because I wanted to be able to access these if I wanted to. You know, it's just an extra little touch. So I wanted to do the same over here, but if you notice, we have a big problem over here. And I'll turn my light on so you can see a little bit better. But the issue becomes that if I don't place anything over this, okay, if I don't play this catwalk over this, I can't connect this catwalk here. It won't let me. It won't let me. So I either have to connect one over on top of this, or I have to connect one on top of that. Unless, and watch the beauty of the lights, okay? So I thought about doing this here, and this would work just fine, to be honest. But if we look at the double light over here, we can lay it down, and you will note that you still can't connect to it. You still can't connect the platform to it. It won't let you. But, and let's make sure I don't get the box. If we put this one, okay, and it has to be facing that way. 100% has to be facing that way. So if we put that one, then now we are able to place the catwalks again. Why it works, I have no idea. It is a really weird system, but you know, whatever, I will take it. I will take it. And I think we might as well repeat. Well, it just kind of looks a little bit weird, but it's going to look weird on this side if we finish this one off and not the other one, I think. Let's finish this catwalk and see what it looks like. It doesn't look that bad. I can't even tell, to be honest. So I'll go ahead and leave it as it is. And maybe not add this one because it's not necessary. Oh. Just save us a little bit of power. We'll finish these off here. And we're almost there. As you can see, it has taken an actual ridiculous amount of time to weld this up. That's basically what has taken most of my time, is the welding, and especially the walls. It took a long time. It took a really long time to weld these up, but it worked, okay, and now it's good. I went with the white still because we are kind of in theme. I didn't add any wall decorations or insets or anything like that. I have color coded the boxes, so these over here are going to be ingots. So these are all just processed material. This ones here are going to be all the components and the ammo. I think that's basically all that, well, basically everything that comes out of the assembler. And over here, these are going to be stone and unprocessed ore. And over there's the ice, which is why I left it white. Okay. I have managed to cover some of this off here. Obviously, this is still a problem, but I'll figure that out in a little bit. But I was able to cover, if you guys remember, all the stuff back here behind the box. All that junk, all those cables. It looks all right. I will do the same on the other side so it kind of stays uniform. I'm not going to do it right now or anytime soon, but yeah, it also gives the base a little bit of an interesting shape, so I really, really, really appreciate that right now. Maybe I will make this into a platform one day to park on a ship or something. I don't know. But for now, I think this will fix it. This will fix the ugly piping situation. I have to obviously finish this off so you can't see it, but I think it'll do. I think it'll work. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. I had a lot of fun working with conveyor systems. It is definitely one of the best things in this game. Having everything be automated and sorted for you is a lifesaver. If you know anything about me and any video game that I've played, if you watch the 7 Days to Die series, you know that my boxes are always an absolute mess. And the fact that this can do it for you is just amazing. All you have to do is spend a little bit of time setting it up, and then it will do the work for you. I just hope you guys enjoyed this episode. I hope you understood kind of what I did with the conveyor systems, and it is working. It is all checking out. So I'm really, really happy about that. All the conveyors are delivering things where they're supposed to. They're bringing things where they're supposed to. They're not mixing the boxes. It's still easy to access the inventories. It is working out great. If you have any questions, please let me know. I feel like I am now an expert in inventory management, and I hope you are too. And thank you so much for watching this episode. If you would like to see more episodes, please consider leaving a like or subscribe. Join us on Discord. The link is in the description below, and I hope to see you guys in the next one. Until then.